Hello, my name is Janice B. Gordon. This is Scale Your Sales podcast. Welcome to the Scale Your Sales podcast, listed number 9 of 42 best podcasts for every sales professional in 2021. I am Janice B. Gordon, the customer growth expert, recommended by LinkedIn as one of 15 innovative sales influencers to follow in 2021. In this week's episode of Scale Your Sales podcast, my guest talks about her new revised or combined company that approaches revenue optimization, not from the technology point of view, but very much from building the foundations of the people point of view. We talked about the transformation that's necessary when you combine the revenue operations, and what's often focused on is the technology behind it. But what they focus on is the people, which is the real transformation. So this is leveraging better communication and equipping the sales and service, marketing, sales and service, not only around the messaging, but to shorten the sales cycle and retain excellent customer relationships. But what we started the conversation off on is many of the hobbies and how that can not only give you a great attitude to life and the way you approach your clients and work, but also help you to continue to grow. One of the things we talked about was a machete, but you're going to have to wait until the end to find out more about that conversation. We had so much fun. My next guest brings her sharp focus of identifying opportunities and coaching players to improve all facets of revenue growth. Her signature sauce is humor, making training sessions fun and memorable. She is a change agent, constantly questioning the status quo and helping organizations stretch beyond their comfort zone to reach excellence. Welcome to Scale Your Sales podcast, Sean Carroll Sandy.
Thanks, Janice. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited to get into talking to you. Like, everyone has got to follow this woman. She is absolutely hilarious. I love her. I've already told her I'm moving into her house. I want to be with her. She's just an inspiration. So I'm really, really happy to get you on the podcast. Give us a bit of a lift. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. How a lift? How does that translate into like a moment or a quote or something to pump up your audience?
Whatever you're feeling.
Okay. This is one of my biggest life mantras. It's your status quo is temporary, and it's only defined by the limitations that you accept for yourself. So they're just imaginary lines. You can reset anything you think about yourself at any time. You can reinvent yourself. For me, it usually involves doing scary things like jumping off something or climbing up or climbing down something. And especially physical things, when I do that, I reset what I thought was possible. And so you grow. So you don't have to be
really
limited.
Interesting. If your first thought is, I can't do that, is that the thing you're going to do next?
Yeah, it is. It is. I've actually made, and it really started when I started my consulting business. And because, like I would think, oh my God, I can't put that number on a contract. Oh my God. And I started thinking, when I feel uncomfortable, it means I have a choice. Your choice is you can either stay comfortable or you can make a new choice. So I started living by, knowing that if I feel like I'm going to throw up or die, that means I'm in a growing spot. So I keep pushing myself to do things that make me uncomfortable and get me out of, the comfort zone, the status quo, so that I don't have to accept any limitations. If I want to do something, I can go do it. And it's just kind of a belief that there isn't much I can't do if I want to. And, That's how I have grown over the past 10, 20 years, is just really pushing myself. There are things I don't want to do. Like, I don't want to run a marathon, but I'm going to go paragliding in Ecuador in January. So, it's all relative. It's all what you want to do.
Yeah. There's a difference between doing things that scare you and doing things that you don't think you can do, isn't there?
Yeah. Or don't want to do. I really don't want to
to
run. Don't make me run.
It's like,
Let
who
something
would do
chasing
that?
me.
Unless there's a lion behind me or something, then I'm happy to do 26.
Yeah. And then I'm going to push the next person down and keep going.
Yeah. All right, I'm not moving in.
I change things.
Is this your approach to life, or how you approach hobbies, and how that impacts your clients? Tell me more about that.
It really is. It's all of it. It's my approach to being, to go to business. It's my approach to living my life. It's my approach to raising kids. It's my approach to, and it has made me such a better coach, and both for the sales teams, salespeople, business owners, the people I coach, but also for the kids I've coached over the years. It's actually one of the places I really got concerned about it, coaching my daughter's volleyball team, is when little girls would, or even when I was a Girl Scout troop leader, when they'd say, "Oh, I can't do that." I'm like, "You haven't even tried. How do you know? How do you know?" So, there's always a little bit of, how do I get this person to see that they are capable of more? And I think kind of that's my purpose on this planet, is to help people see there's so much more they're capable of. If we can just get over fear and how that controls us and limits us, if we can get beyond that, we can really do anything from, salespeople, like cold calling, making a call here, or having a meeting with a person that makes them want to, shake in their boots, to, like trying out for a sport or something they're not made for, or to myself going to surf camp and playing volleyball. I joining a random volleyball team with a lot younger people. Those things keep me motivated to keep myself also in the student shoes too, being a student, a lifelong student, and a lifelong learner.
When you were talking, I was just thinking, you can imagine like a 10-year-old deciding to limit themselves and say, "I can't do that," and you're going to challenge them. And it's just interesting, that mindset unless there's somebody that really challenges them, then it must be a mindset they grow with, that they're limiting everything else. Because the 10-year, they have no life experience, and they have no idea what they can't and cannot do, but they're major about limiting themselves. And often it's unconscious or borrowed from their parents, be careful, don't do this, all of this stuff. But not dealing with it, then you can understand why in adulthood we're used to saying the same thing. I couldn't do that. I'm not capable of doing that, all of that. Yeah.
There's a wonderful work by Joe Dispenza, who studied neuroscience and quantum physics and all those kinds of really detailed stuff. And he said, by the time we're 30, between 30 and 35, we become these fully baked adults, in that our thoughts, feelings, behaviors, actions are all kind of set then. And so we just continue living this loop of thoughts, feelings, actions, behaviors that we reinforce, that we seek out, that confirmation bias. And if you don't do something that gets you off that loop purposefully, most people continue living their lives in this loop of thoughts, feelings, actions, behaviors, and you become set like that. So I studied that because while doing sales training for adults, getting adults to change their behavior is the hardest thing I've ever done. And I'm a parent of teenagers, So I had to study, like, how do I get these folks to change, to try something different, to be open-minded about changing something that they've always been done, or they've always done in a new way, whereas they're just clamped down. I'm not going to, when you walk into training, they're like, I actually feed off of those people. Like, I'm going to get you over.
I've walked in, and literally they may think it, but you can read it all over their face, and it's like, well, what can you teach me, little girl? Kind of thing. It's exactly. Like, right, I'm ready for you.
I love that challenge, Yeah.
So tell me about another drinking challenge of yours, the quarterly lunch and how that's kind of developed into, a whole new area for you.
The drinking challenge. Okay. I must have put something in my survey that I don't remember.
Well, no, I'm talking about the lunch and the long life colleague that developed into a business.
Yes.
I can just,
Okay.
I added that myself. Don't worry. I can
No.
just imagine that you probably had a drink with someone that, you've met on a regular basis.
I was thinking, which drinking lunch are you talking about? Well, it's so divine how this kind of came about. So I had met Kim Hummel, 10 years ago, maybe a year or two after I launched my business at that time, the selling agency, and she was launching herself. And I was, as you do, you network and you join programs and things, and actually became a mentor to her as she was launching her business. And I had, listened to her. She was talking about, graphic design, and she's a great photographer. And I literally grabbed her and shook her. I said, "You don't know your value. You have got to charge more." So it's a very memorable impression she has of me. And then we just, being in the same town, we met each other and talked off and on. And so we've just been friends for years. And so we got together over lunch last year. And how are things going? And where's your business moving into? We always have great conversations. And we realized that we were talking about where our business was moving. I was moving to training beyond just the sales team, service teams, project managers, anyone who touches your customers, because salespeople out there, have you ever sold something and somebody else in the organization can mess it up for you? It sucks. It sucks so bad, right? So why would you give people a boat, meaning employment, and you put everyone in it and you're trying to cross this raging river and you only give the salespeople oars? You give people the security of a light job, 401k benefits, but why not give them oars and then show them how to use it so you're all rowing together? So I was talking about building a selling organization. She's like, yeah. Kim said, I think that's like RevOps optimization, what we're kind of doing digitally. And so we realized we're talking about the same thing with the same outcomes, which is building strategically aligned user-centric experiences. PS, that stands for sauce. That's what sauce stands for now. And we're going to do a podcast. Like, yeah, we should do a podcast about this. And then every time we got together to hammer out the podcast, we just kept talking about other clients and things. And then it came to where we just looked at each other and went, we need to do this. We need to go into business together. She's a brilliant digital marketer and got some serious MarTech skills, and me specifically with the training and the sales operations, sales enablement aspect of it. We decided to launch and call it Sauce Agency, which is putting sauce marketing and the selling agency together. And it's so funny, Janice, because I cannot tell you how many people that we've just not even really launched, but just with our own network have said, what took you guys so long? Like, we all imagined this a long time ago. You're both smart and energetic and just super go-get. And so how I ended up merging with another business, and we launched in January, and holy moly, we've been rolling.
Wow. That is incredible. Obviously it was meant to be, and
Yes.
a complement of skills, but not only that, personality as well. We spend so much time working. It's lovely to be doing it with somebody else that inspires you and motivates you, and to have that in your camp is incredible. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And she's a great counter to me. We counter each other really well. And also she had built a team already, whereas I had just one full-time employee. She had, I think, 4, actually 7. So, the team and the infrastructure she had built was something I had decided, I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. So we operate on the EOS platform, Entrepreneurial Operating System, from Traction, HubSpot partners, StoryBrand certified guides. It's like, okay. And now we're bringing all this together and making some awesome magic. It's been so fun. I cannot believe how much I love working till 9 o'clock at night.
So tell me about your approach to RevOps optimization within this organization. Yeah. What is the unique difference that you do?
So if you have revenue and you have operations, everybody's already doing RevOps. And sort of buzzwordy, the view on RevOps is to align sales, marketing, and services so that everyone's working towards the same goals. Most most organizations, or let me say most agencies that say we help build RevOps plans, they really focus on the technology, which is a huge part of it, right? Like you want a strategically aligned user-centric experience. You want the insights, data, and everything to follow your customer through their whole entire life cycle. But what we realized was missing is, aligning your teams and doing it through technology is one thing. Helping them have the skills to do it with emotional intelligence and intuitively is another. So that's where we're different. It's the alignment through the technology, the systems that scale, as well as the training that transforms, and giving everyone in the boat an oar, and then teaching them how to all row together so that we can get to the other side. So that's the big difference. And it's funny because it's not just, the sales training that we do for service partners and stuff. You can do RevOps optimization throughout your whole organization, from the hiring process to the employee experience. And you have to address the employee experience in order to address the customer experience, right? You can't just hire people and then ignore them, expect them to deliver wow customer experiences. It doesn't work. So we realized that we had to open this up and create an entire customer experience based on an amazing employee experience. So that's pretty different than we're going to do RevOps. We're going to bang this here. We're going to align this here. We're going to code this here, develop this here. Very different.
It's interesting how technology feels that is the transformation, as opposed to technology is just the tool. And they often forget about the people are the ones that need to be transformed within that operation in order to optimize the technology. And I thought it was interesting what you said about having to change adult behavior and really drill down about how you can get these people to change. So it kind of, it's almost come full circle, really, isn't it? You're really focused on the people that need to be transformed within this RevOps transformational process, because they now have the technology in order to optimize it. So can we then come back to the behavioral change of the adults? What was the thing that made the difference, that allows you to transform so many people?
It's Janice, it's something I figured out a couple years ago. I'm going to do sales training. I never imagined I'd practically have to go get a degree in psychology and biology, anthropology and sociology, all the ologies, right? So trying to understand, how do I reach people? How do I, you can inspire people and you can help motivate them, but how do you reach them in a way that compels them to make change for themselves? So two things. So I really dove into biology, psychology, and sociology. And in the training, the first thing we do, the end result is helping us reach our buyers, or helping us create amazing customer experiences through the buying process, et cetera. But the beginning of this is explaining our own human behavior, to helping adults understand that they see everything through that lens of fear and risk. Our very primitive brain is still really in control. It's the one pulling the strings. We don't even make decisions from, our Homo sapien brain. We make it from our gut. So helping people understand their own behavior. So we do biology, then we move to psychology, understand about cognitive load, and how we're trying to get from someone's short-term memory to their long-term memory to be familiar and promote recall. And then to sociology, we talk about the social contract. And what does that mean when you're relating to people? So helping people understand themselves helps them, pick a level to learn up to. So it's helping them understand themselves. And then I always think, I can't expect everyone in this training session, in this organization, to go from here to here. Everyone comes in, maybe they come at here and they go to here. Maybe they come in at here, they go to here. So incremental growth is what we look for. And by understanding and appreciating that, and offering something and allowing people to learn and grow at their own pace and improve, you really elevate the whole organization if you're looking at incremental growth, instead of saying, well, if everyone does it this way, then everybody's going to be successful, because that's a lie.
I love that. I love how you've kind of bridge all of the ologies, which is really about kind of developing the people and doing it at their own pace as well. And if you do it throughout the whole organization, you're lifting the whole organization. I love that. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, so what's one tested strategy that you would offer listeners in order to enable them to scale their sales?
So this is my favorite, and anyone can do this. So back in the day, I don't think they do it now, but shampoo bottles used to say, for best results, lather, rinse, and repeat. So, and for instance, back when I was selling print services, one of the clients was a fast food franchise. So I actually inherited this client. It was a small spend, but I went in and I was like, I learned everything I could know from the HR director about they print so much paper. Can you imagine how many applications and manager guides and things that go on fast food? Laminating the signs that say lettuce, tomato, and ketchup, like tons of opportunities for print. So I went in and we solved a particular problem, which was how to change out the labor law posters when you have franchises in 8 states. So we solved a problem for that. So then I went and picked up the phone and I called 10 more franchise owners of different types of franchises and asked for the HR director and left a message that said, I specifically understand the problems you have X, Y, and Z, and here's how I solve them. Can we have a conversation? So I think of the first 10 I called, I got 8 callbacks and then had 5. So become an expert in something so specific that you can call 10 of the same types of organizations or 20 or whatever and ask for, it's not even always the most obvious person. Like, I want to talk to the director of materials management. Nope. I want to talk to the HR manager in that instance. So I could tell them how we solve their problems. It was the easiest thing I've ever done. So I did that with telecoms after that. And it's just, if you're really great at delivering for one specific client, understand why, and then drill down into it, develop the language specifically for that user, for that person's role, that industry, and then go make the phone calls and set up the meetings. It will lather, rinse, repeat. Best strategy I've ever done.
Wow, I love that. That is so, anyone can pick that up and run with it. Yeah. And the percentage comes to you, all right, via me.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm actually using my, taking my own medicine. That's the other thing too, as a trainer. I have always tested it and walked the talk. If I'm going to teach something, I'm going to do it. So I'm the chief revenue officer for Sauce Agency. I'm out there walking the talk right now, doing, putting me through my sales practices. I'm so excited. I love it. I love getting back to sales and selling.
Yeah. If you're on a desert island on your own, what would be the one thing you took with you? Now, I know I've asked you this question. I read the answer and I thought, where on earth does this woman live? But anyway, tell us.
Okay, my answer is I would bring a machete. One, because I own one. As I told you, I got one for Mother's Day a couple of years ago because I like to hike and I like to camp, and they're just super handy. A machete on a desert island, you can cut down tree branches for shelter. You can cut open coconuts or whatever. You could, animals for meat. Like, you could strike it for flint. I don't know. That's what I would bring. And self-defense, I would use it for self-defense. Yeah. So I've gotten, a machete, a hatchet, and for 1 year, for Mother's Day, I got bear spray. So.
Where do you live?
Well, I live in Memphis, but I go all over the world by myself a lot of times too. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, this is a whole new vision I have of you with your bear spray and your machete, and you're getting all of these for Mother's Day.
Yeah, Mother's Day and Christmas. That's what my family, I have the best husband. He's so supportive. He doesn't want to, he didn't want to learn to surf, and he's not particularly hikey. So I go do these things on my own. And it's such an amazing thing because when you're traveling by yourself or like hiking in the woods by yourself, you're not mom, you're not, the coach, you're not a partner or spouse, you're just you. You just get to be back to who you are. And nature's so grounding for me. So that's why
I love that.
travel. And and my husband used to always stays home with the kids, so it works out great.
And that's a great message to leave this on. Like very much finding a space to be you again, because I think we've come full circle right up to the top about jumping out of planes and things like that. Actually, it's really grounding to do that. I have loved this conversation. I am moving back in. No, I was only joking before. I am moving. I still love you.
I'll take you with me on one of these adventures, Janice.
Do you know, I travel a lot on my own, and I do love adventures and things. So I actually think we would be very good mates, kind of camping and walking. But I think you're handling the machete, though. You know?
Yeah.
You know what you're doing there. Carol, Sandy, it has been such a pleasure talking to you. So much fun. Thank you so much for being a guest on Scale Your Sales podcast.
Thank you, Janice. I've loved it. I love your podcast. I love what you're such a natural interviewer, and what you, not really, Paul, what you draw out of people is just beyond the sales lessons. You know, in aren't we all like, sales lessons are human being lessons? That's, you know, that's really the heart of it, right?
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Yeah. Brilliant. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Scale Your Sales podcast. If you like this discussion, feel free to listen to other episodes or watch the captioned show on YouTube and subscribe to future episodes. I would really appreciate it if you would leave a positive review on iTunes. Thank you.